Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Haidt.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week, we are getting a little gross with it. Maybe getting a little pervy with it.
Yeah.
A little.
Maybe if you say Spooky Tuesday 3 times, we'll get real big with it.
Oh, Spooky Tuesday, Spooky Tuesday, Spooky Tuesday.
I guess we have to get real big with it then. We're getting big icky. We're getting big pervy this weekend.
You're going to be disgusted.
You're gonna throw up. You're gonna walk into your mom's bedroom and go, Mommy, I just threw up.
Mommy, I threw up. And that's because we are going to be discussing Tim Burton's 88? Did this come out 88? Beetlejuice.
Wait, we're doing what?
Baby.
Beetlejuice.
We're doing what?
I will not fall for it, Chelsea.
I think it's fine if I say Beetlegeist. That doesn't seem to work. So maybe just mispronounce it the whole episode and we'll be safe.
I'm going to be stuck here on Black Box this whole episode if you don't say it one more time.
Say what?
I can't say. If you saw a big roach behind you and then you wanted to drink an orange freshly squeezed for morning meal.
Beetle fruit? I think it's beetle fruit.
Beetle fruit. Ah, yes. Beetle fruit.
And I stay on Black Box.
I guess because it's Beetlejuice.
Hey, what's up, girls? What's up? It's me. I'm the guy.
Oh my God.
It's giving Joker though, don't you think?
It's a little, just only a little bit. I wouldn't have thought that. You just need a little bit
to
of
add
gel.
Some moss, you know. Yeah, if I could have made my hair stand out more, that would have been helpful. But it would need to be shorter to really maintain that.
Cut your hair, Chelsea.
I know, I thought about it.
Chelsea, cut your hair for the pod. I dyed my hair black and gave myself baby bangs for the pod. So why didn't you do that for this?
Okay, but Monica,
your commitment is unmatched.
This hairstyle does look really good on you. I think you should dye your hair and change your bangs and get a cunt ass bob.
Oh my God, should I get a cunt ass bob?
I think you should invest in a whole bunch of wigs so that you can go from mullet one day to cunt ass bob the next, etc.
I had a cunt ass bob for years and years.
She did.
And years. We're in our long hair shaggy girl era now. Not yet mullet. Sorry, Chris. But maybe mullet soon. But yeah, thank you so much. I do feel really special when I wear the Betty Page wig and turn it into a Lydia Dietz wig. So cool. I think we're really slaying it today. Everybody's looking, well, beautiful, dead,
sexy,
undead,
the ghostess with the mostest,
goth, depressed, pervy. A lot.
You want to jump off a bridge? Is that like feeling like it's speaking to you?
Here's the thing: if I was to ever jump off a bridge, I would hope that it would be like a picturesque,
a beautiful, picturesque 5 feet off of the water bridge in Connecticut.
But here's the thing: I want their yellow Volvo. That might be my dream car.
It's so cute.
Everything about them, the way that he dresses, also reminds me of Adam. Monica, when are you and Adam?
And his name is Adam.
Them, I know.
You guys could do that costume really easily, yeah.
I know. It would be like too normie almost, though. So I would have to
you'd have to do the crazy faces.
Yeah, you'd have to start out of the party in your normie outfit, and then halfway through do the crazy faces.
I would buy the mask. I'm not gonna do. I'll be drunk at that point, so I can't do prosthetics. Well, I like to try to pretend that I could maybe do that one time. I put on a mustache once. I put a mustache on Adam.
You could get Adam one of those like fake torsos that goes up, so he's the beheaded Adam, and then you could have a fake Adam
That's so
head
obvious.
that you're carrying around.
That would
so
be a
obvious
slay
in the
costume.
movie. I'm like, okay, his shoulders are shockingly large all of a sudden. That's so
Oh,
weird.
he's
Alec
so beefy,
Baldwin,
bulky all of a
what's
sudden.
going on with you? Okay,
Alec Baldwin
I'm
is a babe in this movie,
Alec Baldwin
unfortunately.
is so hot in this.
He's
Oh God,
cheeked up in those chinos.
Yeah.
he is so cheeked up, and unfortunately, I still thought he was hot in 30 Rock. So that's something that I talk about in therapy every
should
week.
be
Every
talking about
Comes up
single
every week. It's so weird why it keeps coming up all the time,
It's
but
so
every week.
weird why it keeps coming up all the time, but it does keep coming up all the time. So it's okay. Don't worry. We're talking. We're working through it, but it's not over yet.
Every week you're working through it.
And luckily, Geena Davis is here too.
Thank God for Geena Davis. But if you've been living under a rock all these years, it's been
Yeah,
If you've been living under the model grass in the cemetery all these years.
exactly. It's been over 30 years now.
over 30.
Yes, because
Yeah.
we're 30 and
Wow.
we were born after that.
I know.
We're 30 plus.
I know. Horrifying. Never
It's
speak of that
35.
again.
35.
Yeah. It'll be, depending on when it came out,
36
36.
whenever it
March
comes out.
30th. March 30th,
Oh, so it's
1988.
30.
Oh, so it's already 36.
36 years old.
36. Oh, yeah,
Uh,
because I'm 31. Oh, that sucks. Keep going.
so if you
Hard
have been
revelation.
living under a rock for the last 36 years and don't know what Beetlejuice is about, IMDb says that it is about the spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home and hire a malicious spirit to drive them out. And I just want to say that if I had this beautiful home and these people from New York came in and took off my wallpaper and my beautiful things for some fuck ass modern art bullshit, I would also unleash a demon on them.
100%.
I really like Delia's designs, actually.
Get out of the chat.
Yes.
I feel like it's
I'm
very
kicking
cool.
Chelsea
It's
off
very
this
like
podcast right now.
kind of gothy. It's like the dark, moody, like dark academia parts of it. Some of it, I kind of like the weird freak
was
shit
not
they do
dark
outside the house.
academia.
Some of the rooms when they come back after it's been totally redone and it's like dark turquoise in there with like black accents and blah blah blah.
Is that Lydia's room? Because Lydia's room is
No.
okay.
No, the living room.
No, I hate everything that they do.
I did like the red bar, but that's just because I want a bar in my house and that looked cool. But that's the only thing. Okay, actually, I'm gonna bring up It Ends With Us. Sorry. The one thing I will say that somehow made me feel better, it was horrible because I had to watch them steaming off that fucking wallpaper in this movie.
Oh, I know.
And that
I cried.
was very depressing, but at least they're doing it the right way. In It Ends With Us, beautiful Blake Lively and beautiful Jenny Slate paint over wallpaper that was absolutely stunning. And I was like, in the theater, and it was not supposed to garner that reaction. So at least they didn't do that. At least they didn't paint that fucking like goth robin's egg speckle that they had all over everything over the fucking wallpaper. It's disrespectful. This movie made me a little sad this time around, but I also loved it so much.
Why did
I
it make
forgot
you a
how
little
freaky
sad?
it is. I just am so sad that they died.
I
Sad
know.
that they died because they thought they
Yeah.
were so cute at the beginning. And they're having their little like staycation and they're so happy and like they're friends with everyone in the town and they're making their house
They're
perfect.
little, and they're doing little
Fucking Jade is
miniatures.
harassing them constantly, though.
I know, and
Jade
also
will not
like in
mind
a
her
mean,
fucking business.
yeah, and like Geena Davis can't have kids, and she's being like, "This should be for a family." Like, okay, way to fucking rub it in Geena Davis's face. Oh my god, what's her name? Sorry, Barbara's face.
Yeah. Babs
That's
and Adam.
fucked up. I know, Babs and Adam. I don't know. I just thought they're so sweet. And parts of like this movie is so fucking funny and it's amazing, but like it's dealing with some really heavy stuff too.
Sure.
And
Oh,
I think that's
yeah.
why people liked it so much because they did like a silly take on some serious subject matter. But I'm scared of the concept of death. So imagine figuring out you're dying You already died like that. That's scary.
Here's the thing.
Scared.
I think the scariest part about this is realizing that the afterlife is like an office bureaucratic corporate bullshit thing. I
Oh
think
my
that
God.
is depressing as shit. The aesthetics are slay, but the functionality is bad.
Yeah.
I guess you've got a lot of time, you know.
You do have a lot of time.
What
There's
was
a
the
lot
thing
of
with
dead people out there.
125 years too? Like you have to stay on Earth for 125 years?
They'll be haunting their house for 125 years, I think is what was being said. I'll be curious to see if they find some way around that with the sequel coming out, because as far as I know, Barbara and Adam will not be returning, or they surely can't return as their young people forms, but
right? Like I was wondering
we'll
how they're gonna address that in the sequel.
Oh yeah. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that.
Honestly, that's the thing about
Are they
this
gonna use
movie.
the Scream de-aging thing?
I don't think Geena Davis or Alec Baldwin is coming back. Like Alec Baldwin allegedly hated his work on this movie. And it's like his least favorite movie that he did, which is weird because he did great and is so cute in it. But I also saw on IMDb trivia that Bill Pullman was up for the role, and Bill Pullman I think could have done an equally good job. But he does perfectly fine. He's lovable in this film.
Yeah,
so I don't know what
he does a really good job.
beef
Mostly
was.
I just like to look at him. My God.
Right, but he's got beef. So like I don't think he would have wanted to come back anyway, but I don't think Geena Davis is coming back. I mean, I guess it's a wonder. You can't have just one, you know? So
no.
Well, but obviously the main takeaway from these movies is the big guy himself and Lydia are like the real stars of the show from a pop culture perspective. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I always forget like how big of a role Barbara and Adam actually are in it. Like those are the main characters. You know what I mean?
Those are the main characters, 100%. And I thought not to talk about the ending at the beginning, but like the ending is about like this pseudo family that is created, and it's like a beautiful, harmonious thing. But like they were in talks for another sequel to this movie because it was such a fucking hit. Like it made like what, like $70 million, maybe $80 million, and it had like a $13 million budget, so it did really fucking well. They're trying to get them to do a sequel. Tim Burton wasn't going to be doing it, so it would have been ass, but the sequel was going to be Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. And
I think he was going to do it, but then he lost interest, which is why it didn't happen. He was like, I'm ready to move on to other projects, actually, like Batman. Michael Keaton, come be in Batman with me instead.
But like with Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, the Deets were gonna move to Hawaii, and they're gonna have to. They're gonna be on an ancient burial ground. It sounds problematic. It sounds fucked up. Sounds like it would have been a terrible atrocity. But that would have killed the. What are their last names? The Maitlands.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
The Maitlands from the script too, unless there's some crazy caveat where actually they can go to Hawaii. They can go to Hawaii.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if in the new sequel they do something like, oh, actually they peacefully moved on and we had such happy family times together that they ascended or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like we clearly don't get every single possible rule of the afterlife because they won't fucking read the manual back to front.
Are they illiterate? I was so worried about them. I was like, maybe they're confused because they've got water in their brains because they drowned, like they're waterlogged.
I tried to read a 30-page manual for a freeze dryer one time, and it did take me hours to get through because it's very not engaging material.
I'm so sorry you had to do that. That's
thank you so much. I really appreciate that sympathy. Yeah, I mean, I think I can see they seem to be very annoyed with it and feel alienated from it, and the way that it reads like a stereo manual turns them off. Whereas for Lydia, she's like, this is super interesting because I'm actually not dead yet, and I'm very interested in the afterlife. So like she's flipping through the pages, but
Yeah. They're just
They just-
overwhelmed. I too
they
would
don't
be
care.
overwhelmed if I found out I was dead. Okay? That's crazy. How
They
did they
wanna
die
have two
even
gu-
too?
they want it
It
to
wasn't that
be,
crazy of a fall.
They
I
drowned.
know they drowned though. So
Maybe
like
they just couldn't
maybe
get out
they
of the
hit
car.
their
Yeah.
heads. Yeah, apparently there was originally a much gorier version. And part of that was going to be a gorier death scene, and part of that was that Barbara's arm was going to get like fucked up, like the door was going to like crash in on them or something, and that's why it's like still in the script when they get home afterwards there where he's like, how's your arm feel? And she's like, I don't know, it feels frozen. Like that's because her arm was broken or smushed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that like is still a relic of that is still in the movie. But this film is rated PG. So that
that's
didn't end
because
up
like
in the final cut.
But also like I think this word says fuck in it. This movie.
Yeah, this movie does say the fuck word.
Yeah, and
And
it's like
one time.
It's a
You
there's
can
like
say
a
the fuck word in the PG movie one time.
You
back
can't
in the
but
80s. You could because like PG-13 like was like
it was new.
Yeah, and so they
It was
weren't
new.
like
They hadn't figured it all out yet. On IMDb
Yeah.
trivia, it says like there were like 3 movies that came out right around the same time in the new PG-13 era, they called it, that were rated PG but had the F word in it one time, and it was this movie, Spaceballs, Big, and I guess it was 4, and Caddyshack 2. So those ones all snuck it in there and got away with it.
Well,
But I mean, it makes sense. PG means parental guidance. It's just that PG has come in today's era when movies aren't. I mean, maybe some are rated G. I don't know, but it seems like PG is like the lowest these days. Whereas it used to be. It used to be like, hey, parents, be aware.
I'm sure there's G still. But I mean, this movie was gonna be way more fucked than it already is. Like it was gonna be really like disturbing. And Tim Burton was like, maybe we make it funny. I don't know.
Maybe we get
what a
silly with
crazy
it.
little.
Maybe we just
What
make
if we get?
I want a song and dance section of this movie, please and thank you. And honestly, it's live.
He didn't like that part, actually, apparently. It said that he thought that was not that funny until they were showing test audiences, and then audiences loved that. That was like their favorite bit, the Deo scene. And so he was
so
like,
funny.
Okay, I guess, great. But he was like not vibing with that. And most of not most, a good chunk of the humor comes from big guy, titular character. And he like ad-libbed 90%. Beetlejuice ad-libbed like 90% of his lines, and that character really seemed to like come from Michael Keaton because there were a bunch of different versions in this script, and I think it said like Tim Burton wanted Sammy Davis Jr. to do Beetlejuice at first, and there was like a version where he was, quote, a winged and demonic presence taking human form as a small Middle Eastern man, and a subsequent draft had him as an African-American man speaking in a kind of pidgin dialect. That's a quote.
Oh, cool. So it's like super racist.
It's gonna be like super problematic, I think.
Hell yeah.
And then
cool.
Michael Keaton came
What
on.
the fuck?
And he like came up with a lot of the design of the character, and he's like ad-libbing most of his lines. So it seems like that really was like his version. And they kind of just rolled with whatever he was doing.
I loved what he was doing, minus the pervy stuff, but
yeah, but it's also that's who he is, baby.
I love that they
baby
have a strip club called Dante's Inferno in this PG movie. I love movies.
Baby, they were getting away with everything. It was the 80s.
I love the 80s. Also, did y'all watch the Beetlejuice cartoon show growing up?
I forgot about it until I was doing research on this, and I saw the image from it, and I was like, "Oh man,
because that's
so
the thing,
iconic!"
It was the Beetle one. Sabrina the Teenage Witch also had like
I loved that one,
and I love
similar
that too.
Styled.
Yeah, like they always like go together in my brain. And I remember watching these all the fucking time, but I'm like older than y'all, so I wondered if y'all remembered, or because I bring it
didn't
up
watch it, but I
sometimes
know
with
about
other
it.
people, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, "How do you
I
not
don't think
know?"
I like watched it regularly, but I definitely had one of my friends was like obsessed with it and was in love with Beetlejuice because of the cartoon specifically.
In love with Beetlejuice. Oh my God. Yeah, that's what gave this movie so much staying power too. It like hit the sweet spot. Like it came out
It's a
like
family
goths.
film in some ways.
Yeah. Goths really felt self-aware goths. This is like a quote from one of the articles I read. Really felt a kinship with Lydia. So that was amazing. And then it was right when VHSs were so huge. And so when it went to VHS, then everyone was getting it. And then also there was like cable reruns of it all the time. And then the TV show. So it was just like kind of inescapable. And thank God, because I just hadn't watched like an OG Tim Burton property in a really long time. And he is a magic man. Like, honestly, what the fuck? This movie's so weird. And there's so many little funny, like, tidbits and layers. Like, every single dead person is so
Yes.
fucking hilarious and problematic. But I love it. Sorry.
I do
Like,
too.
it's just such a world. He creates such a world. Oh my God. And then, like,
Tim Burton, I
there's
think.
Dune also in it.
Yes, that was my thing. I was like, "Oh, we have a
and
Dune
it's
reference."
Dune.
I think Tim Burton is a better director when he is given like less money, quite frankly.
I think he's a better director when he's not working with Johnny Depp.
I mean, yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah. Yes, but like when he has like the bigger the budget, sometimes I think the worse the
he
movie.
gets lazy because
Yeah,
it's like,
this
oh, we'll
is-
just CGI it.
Right?
This
Like
is his
Forces
sophomore
him to get
film.
creative.
yes. And but also I love all of his, and the only Johnny Depp movie with him that I really like is Corpse Bride, and I stand by that. And it's animated, so it's fine.
I do still like Edward Scissorhands. I'm sorry. He doesn't talk much in that though, so that's good at least. But I just couldn't believe this was only his second movie, and this first movie ever was fucking Pee-wee's Big Adventure or whatever. I still
That
haven't
was
seen
how
that.
he got Michael Keaton to sign on because he was like not sold on the role. And then Tim Burton was like, did a meeting with him and was like, watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure or whatever that movie is called. I think it's called that though.
I think it's called that.
And then he like got a better idea of like what the general vibe is. And then he was like, okay, I'm in. But yeah, he was really young when Geena Davis was meeting with him about this role in the beginning too. She was like chatting with him for a long time about like Edward Gorey and like other cool artsy stuff. And then she was like, I wonder where that Tim Burton guy is. He hasn't shown up for our meeting yet. And he was like, oh no, I'm Tim Burton. Like she thought he was just like another member of the art department crew, and he was like, no, I'm the director of this
I'm
movie.
just actually really cool and down to earth.
I'm actually just really young and hip, so
oh my God, it's so good. I mean, who are some of like your favorite dead people? Let's just
The
shout
Cut in
some
Half
of them out.
lady, number one.
obviously
I have her.
the Cut in Half lady. Yeah.
I have
my
her
God.
on my Crocs. I love her.
Oh my God, she's so iconic. I want to know what happened. I'm sure there's lore behind all of these. I didn't find an article on it.
Well, the football team that you will see, apparently IMDb says there's like two different ones. Or the football players are related to the 1970s crash of the Marshall University football team. So like the Remember Marshall movie, it's all of those football players.
Oh my God. Okay, I found an article that explains every single person that you see and every one of their deaths. So
The Cut in Half lady, though, she's supposed to be like a magician's assistant, I think.
Oh, yeah. That totally makes sense. Yeah, magician's assistant. That's what it says. Sawed in half during a show. Juno is a civil servant, so you know what happened there. But very interesting cause of death because she's got the slit here. I just think that that's interesting. I didn't notice it at all. like for the first bit. I thought she was wearing a cream colored top. And then when she smokes, then the smoke came out. And I was like, oh, I'm dumb. Miss Argentina, we know what happened to her.
She had her little accident.
She had her little accident. Harry, the hunter, cause of death was a hunting accident. When his head was so small, I thought that he shot himself in the head somehow, and that's how they were depicting it. And then the man who shrinks heads, the head shrinker, came into the picture. It looks like
he had been decapitated to me, and then his little shrunken head was just plopped on top of his neck. But
oh yeah, I think it's tied on with like a little piece of string or something. I love him. He's incredible. What an icon. And what I love the witch doctor coming into the ending too, but we'll get there. Who else? Charman. That's what they called the guy who's lit on fire. Charman. Love him.
You have the guy with the chicken bone in his throat.
That guy is so, I love him. There's one guy who his book is covering it most of the time, but he's in like a hospital gown, and like behind his book he had died on the slab getting open heart surgery. There's like this huge gaping hole in his chest, and I'm like, dude, hold your book lower. Like I almost missed that. So funny.
He's embarrassed, Monica.
Oh, I was wondering about this one. I paused during the waiting room scene, maybe the second time around. And there's a guy who's all purple. And I was like, what's his thing? I couldn't tell. Asphyxiation. He died by choking or some form of asphyxiation, and that's why he's purple.
Oh, if all of the civil servants died by suicide, and there's that one guy who's all smushed and flat, does that mean he threw himself into traffic, do we think?
Probably.
I think that must mean that he threw himself into traffic.
It's like really dark, but I do love the guy on the noose that's like,
who's just like swinging along. Yeah.
Who's like on the tracks, like passing out papers.
I love the infrastructure that they have down there to support their employees. The little like slot that the squished guy goes through. Oh my god.
It's a shame that you have to do a job though. It's like I'd probably kill myself to get away from job, and now I have job again.
It's doing mean things about the perception of people unaliving themselves. So I don't love that. But you know, it also has a whole bunch of attempted assaults in this movie too. So that's really fun. Diver swimmer, that's one of my favorite ones. The shark on the swimmer's leg is so good.
I saw that mentioned in IMDb trivia, the shark attack, but I missed it in the movie, which is weird because I watched it twice.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's when they walk in and they like almost trip over this big giant shark. I'll send you a picture in the thing right now. But it's so funny. He's all green and he's laying back and like his leg is still inside of the shark. It's very funny. I think one of my favorite ones though was the guy in the sleeping bag. Did you guys see that one?
I pulled up a picture to look at the shark guy, and now I'm seeing sleeping bag next to him.
Sleeping bag's next to him, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on here because his hair looks like it's electrocuted, but it's oh, it's a woman. I'm so sorry, I misgendered them. But it's a snake in the sleeping bag. That's what it's supposed to be. And she just happens to have big spike hair, I guess. But that's the tail of the snake sticking out of the sleeping bag.
Look, some of these bitches are green for no real discernible reason. So, like, that's just the way it goes sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just like sometimes you know, they get a little manner of decomp involved. Maybe they've been dead longer. Maybe that's like, gonna happen to our lovely titular characters.
And some of it is just also like fun cinematic aesthetic choices because like if they were really doing that consistently with everybody, Barbara and Adam would be wet the whole movie because they drowned. But they decided that that was not a realistic way to film the movie, so they scrapped that and they get to be dry.
I have to say that reading the actual details of the Marshall football incident is very upsetting.
Oh yeah, that movie.
Yeah,
that's probably one of their least
uncontrollably.
tasteful things that they did in this movie for sure. My God.
They changed the color of the uniforms. Doesn't that count for something?
Oh, and okay, I'm glad they at least mentioned this one in here. There's that random guy who just kind of blends into the wall, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't know either. We don't know what happened with
just
that
thought it was funny.
That's how the article ends. The cause of death is unknown, but he's just kind of gray guy, great camouflage. This is so like all the detail. You know me with attention to detail. This is why I like Disneyland so much. Sorry, because they think of everything and they put so much thought into like every part of the experience. I'm not a Disney adult. I just appreciate people doing it to the
If you're
nth degree.
gonna go
And
to
Tim
a
fucking
theme
does
park, they should theme it the fuck out.
I want
You go on
details
Six
Tim
Flags,
Burton
they've got like
park.
2 things in the waiting area. I want full deck.
Yeah. If there's a Tim Burton theme park,
oh my God, that would be so good.
Super fucking cool. I went to the Tim Burton art exhibit at the not the Hammer. What's the one with the lights in front of it in LA?
LACMA?
No. LACMA, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went to the Tim Burton exhibit at LACMA and it was really fucking cool. Like such a cool experience. But yeah, I mean, God, I'm so glad we did this movie. I just had such a fun time. And I watched it twice and I'm so glad I did because I missed so much the first time because I was cleaning out my email at the same time. This movie deserves your undivided attention.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday for vibes because it had been easily 20 years since I last watched it. And then I watched it a second time this morning to really get all the detail work in.
Same.
I'm like really interested in seeing how they're going to do this sequel.
I'm very curious, but the trailer looks super interesting to me.
It looks fun, yeah. And I think I read something that was like the sequel is balls to the wall, nuts so insane, crazy, wild. And it's like they didn't try to restrain themselves. It's just like wild. So I'm like, good, because that's like the first one.
And it kind of seems like, I mean, obviously Beetlejuice is problematic and that's just part of who he is. And that's something to love or hate or be disgusted by about him in equal measures because that's what he's going for anyway.
And that's why we love him.
But given the fact that Lydia is 15 in this movie, you know, that's not ideal. But the way he's like still interested in her now that she's an adult and is not going after Jenna Ortega, it feels like maybe he's just like, that's my goth GF. Again, not that that's good, but it makes it feel less gross a little bit.
He says, that's the love of my life. But
that's the love of my life. And didn't Edward Cullen imprint on a 16-year-old as a 100-year-old man? So that's just the way it goes with a supernatural romance, okay?
Here's the thing. Sometimes, you know, you like to read the 18-year-old girl with the 500-year-old immortal being because men take a lot longer to
let
mature.
the old man be hot, and in this one they said he's hot, but he's also visibly old. Challenge your own perceptions. It's still the same thing.
It's hard. It's hard out there. At least they made it better than it was going to be because there was going to be like a full-blown assault on Lydia in the earlier version. Yeah. And and Tim was like, maybe
Maybe we don't do that. Winona Ryder herself was 15, so maybe we don't do that.
Maybe we don't. I don't know if they had cast attached when that was still a thing, but either way, glad that they
didn't do that one.
Okay, back to details though here. Here is how I know I watched this when I was a young, dumb child. Because I was like, it's so funny that they do Deo in this movie. And they do the whole thing with Harry It's Belafonte. That's how you say his name, right? Harry Belafonte. Well, why do they choose that song? That's all this beautiful couple listens to when they're alive. Throughout the beginning of the movie, they're listening to his music. And I was like...
Apparently you see him like get the tape as a package in one of the opening scenes.
Oh, that's what that was. That was what his present was, maybe?
I guess.
Or something? Or he was checking the mail at one point.
Or
But
he like checks the mail and that's what he gets.
They're like vibing out to it the whole morning when they're having their little nice last morning alive. And so I loved figuring that out. Not something to figure out this time. I was like, I thought it was so cute that Geena Davis was like, or Barbara's like, I figured it out. I know how we'll scare them away. And it includes our favorite song, honey. I just think that's adorable.
Like, I'm doing this for us. They're truly the perfect couple. I'm devastated that they died so early.
I think it also made me sad because it just like kind of reminded me of me and Adam. I was like, this is us in our little house decorating, and now we're going to drown.
Technically, you are going to drown at some point, Miss Drown.
Adam's last name is Drown. Wow.
It's an omen.
We just technically doxed Adam.
Delete that.
It's in his Instagram handle.
It's in his Instagram handle. People follow me. They see him tagged.
They know. It's fine.
They know. It's fine. I won't share his multiple middle names though. But yeah. I thought that was sweet.
Franklin Delano. Franklin Delaware.
It's Franklin. It's Adam Franklin Delaware. I won't say his last name again. I thought that FDR was Franklin Delaware. Roosevelt.
That's where they named the state after him.
That's what I thought. I just thought, I'm sure that's where the state name came from. Not thinking of time or when Delaware was established or anything. Or maybe his name's after Delaware. I don't know. It wasn't for me to know. And I was wrong. Anyway, back to the movie.
I'm going to really embarrass myself potentially. But wasn't Delaware the first colony?
Sure.
Who's to say?
First colony.
It was a tribute then.
United
Obviously,
States.
It was a tribute. They middle named him Delaware. Because it was the first colony. And that's so sweet. And that's what I thought. And I was so wrong. And anyway, I'm smart about other things. Don't worry about it.
No, Virginia was first. Never, excuse me.
I forget what I said again. Anyway, did you guys know that they were going to have Angelica Houston play Delia?
Yeah, but she was sick.
Yeah.
That would have been... I love Catherine O'Hara in this, but
I love her, and it was her idea to do the Calypso song. She was like, it should be Calypso.
Oh my god!
So it would have been something else without her. Can you imagine?
I love Angelica Houston. I love her so much. But Catherine O'Hara is just so iconic in this. Like it's so funny that she like slayed this character and then she's in Schitt's Creek and like there is some shared DNA there.
They've got the shared like
moving to the sticks, hoity-toity, blah 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 blah, and just the way that bitch screams and yells is she has the funniest little yell voice. It's so funny. Like she did. Like one of her falls or something, I was like, oh God, I hear the Schitt's Creek yells so strongly. It's iconic.
Related to moving from the sticks, sort of vaguely a little bit. I was noting some of the horror movie references I was clocking, and one joke I made in my notes was when the fly is on the model and Beetlejuice pulls it into the grave to eat it. I was like, oh, it's a reference to The Fly. And then IMDb trivia was like, no, it really is a reference to The Fly.
Oh my God.
Especially with Geena Davis here, star of The Fly.
Yeah.
But the beginning really made me think of Hellraiser when they're moving into the house and there's the haunted presence in the house and they're like, we're going to redo this whole ish. And there's the weirdo redhead stepmom and the estranged stepdaughter who's like, maybe I'll do this for my dad, maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, I was just clocking it.
Good clocking skills. I totally didn't see that. But I love Delia even though she does suck. Like she doesn't suck quite as bad as like
I'm fully
I was
obsessed
expecting
with
her to suck. I thought that she was iconic. I thought her art was a slay. It's so spooky.
Oh, but you don't like her home design? You don't like Otho's interior decorating? I love Otho.
No. Otho is my one true love, but he won't have me. He's so fucking funny.
Christian Brune realness. I'm just saying.
Christian Brune for
Christian
the
Brune could slay an
remake.
Otho.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Also, though, that one line at the dinner party before they're all possessed by Calypso. There's that line where Otho's talking to this other woman and he's like, I hope it's not one of your sad suicide attempts. That was funny. But then she like nabs him back by being like, you know that I'm like, he's like, I know all about paranormal things. And she's like, oh, is that what they're calling your kind these days? And I was like, that's such an iconic gay joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
The banter in this is so smart that like as a child you absolutely did not pick up any of the like suicide references or any of the gay jokes or anything like that. So like watching it and actually paying attention to it like as an adult,
having a real adult brain
was like such a fucking treat.
Seriously. And also a little bit of a scare because I'm like, oh, it's problematic. Damn it. But like, and fuck it. I
don't
fuck
care.
it. I love it. I love it.
That's Beetlejuice's whole thing. You don't get him without a little problematicity.
Yeah. That's a word and I like it. No, I think that he is a nasty little demon guy and it wouldn't make sense if he was just nice or just scary. He's got to be gross. It's part of his whole shtick.
He's got to be gross.
He's got to be gross. It's his whole thing. I do also think it's iconic and makes me love Delia even more. I love actually all of them. Like I didn't really care about the dad. What's his name?
Charles.
And
also that actor's canceled. So he's not coming back in the sequel. They killed this character because he got arrested for child pornography. So
I recognized him, but I had no idea.
He's been in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He was in Stuart Little.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, moving on. That's horrible. He's canceled big time canceled. I did love that they all got possessed and sang a song and they were not freaked out at all afterwards and they were like, that
they're
fucked.
like,
right?
They're like, oh my God,
we're gonna make
do it again
off this.
They would fucking love the talk to me hand. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah,
They'd go crazy for the talk to me hand. They'd be like, sign me up. Let me hang out with those Australian youth. But I love that they're such down bitches. I mean, that's the community that we will have when we are older, landed, fancy bitches. We'll have a community of people who are down to be haunted or down to clown in that way.
Look, Delia had some good ideas. She wanted to do art. She wanted to do cultural center. She wanted to do museum. She just needed to have a little bit more respect for the autonomy of the ghosts. And if they could come to an accord together, then they could have a beautiful business model. But
it would be lovely.
She got a little ahead of herself. Can you blame her? She's in the brainstorming session.
Yeah. And also, like, I was like, Lydia girl, like, I get it. She's your stepmommy and she is obnoxious and she's on Valium all the time and she's very self-centered. But you guys have actually a lot in common, I think. I think there's some shared likes there that we could find in time.
And at the end, when Beetlejuice is attacking them and Charles and Delia were holding each other, then Delia is the one holding Lydia and Lydia is holding on to Delia and then Charles is on the other side of Delia. So I feel that they found each other by the end, and I think they're going to have a good working relationship in the sequel.
Oh, yeah, because Catherine O'Hara's back.
Yeah. Three generations of Dietz women.
I'm excited. Wow. I'm excited for that.
I'm so excited. And I'm so glad they didn't blow the sequel on a fucking problematic Hawaiian one. And they waited 36
They waited
years.
for the right time.
Yeah. It's the exact right time. And can we just talk about, my hat's flying off, Jenna Ortega, sorry. She's just so perfect to be the younger Dietz here, the baby Dietz. It's just So good. And she's done such a great job of establishing herself as like a Winona Ryder, Christina Ricci like type, but obviously doing different things completely. But like, you know, some of those
But in that same
Young
day.
spooky
in that
bitch roles.
same spooky vein. I just think she's done such a great job of making herself a scream queen. Also with insane range. She's done a lot of other movies that aren't just horror movies. And so of all of the actresses I just was speaking about, but I just think it's iconic.
Mhm.
God.
Yeah,
She's
it has
so
been really
silly.
interesting watching Jenna Ortega's like career projection.
Yeah. Wednesday, Scream, this now. What else? There's so many other things. Like, she's just adorable. And I really loved Wednesday too, which is like just so the same like lifeblood as this. So
I'm very interested for Wednesday season 2 because it is going in a whole different
yeah, because
thing.
they got rid of that
one guy because he's
character,
perving on
'cause he was
kids.
a perv as well. Oh no! Let's change the subject. That can't be this episode. Can only be
That can't
about
be the theme of
fictitious
this episode.
perv.
Only
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Beetlejuice can be a perv because he's not real.
Like, did we say this episode was gonna be pervy? We did not mean this.
We
I
did
guess.
say
We didn't
big
mean it like
perv.
this.
We did say big perv.
Not lifting out real life pervs. That's not what we meant. We just
We're
thought
gonna
we were gonna be a
dox
little
real life
randy with each
pervs.
other. Oh my god. What happens in this movie though? I mean, we've gone through some of it. What else? I love the concept of a bioexorcist too. Just the very bare bones concept of this is just so funny. Like, give the ghosts what they need. The ghosts need things too, okay? It's not
Well, I
just a
also-
one-way street.
I kind of feel like there's a read on this where sure that is like his gig, but it's not so much it's because of his passion, it's because he's trying to find a way into the world and he's trapped or he's got his curse going on or whatever, so he
Yeah.
needs to find ways to get summoned, and it's harder to broach the world to the real true livings without having the dead people summon you up first. So but I
Oh,
love him
totally.
like flipping through the obituaries and the afterlife daily where it's just going
Like,
through.
those look like they look sweet, like idiots or
Mhm.
whatever he says. Also, when he's like introducing himself to them, I think that's the scene when he like shrinks them down. I think after Barbara says his name 3 times the first time.
Yes.
And he's like describing, I'm like, oh, that's what it was. It was like, can you please say what your qualifications are to be a bioexorcist? And he does that like fat fancy posh voice, like, I went to Juilliard, blah 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 blah. And then he's like, and I saw The Exorcist 167 times and it just keeps getting funnier. That I thought was like the most iconic thing ever. Also, that number seems to be oddly close to how many times Ashley from Keep It Weird said she'd seen The Exorcist. So
Is it a reference to Beetlejuice?
is
Oh, careful with his name.
Beetlejuice. He's gonna come and get you.
I'm gonna manifest in your room, Sydney.
He's gonna
later.
Maybe.
This is the type
Watch
of
what you
pervy we were looking
say.
for. This is good. Keep this going. Oh man, I don't know why they named him after a star in the Orion constellation though. I think it's a fun name, but like, what does it mean? I don't know.
IMDb trivia
What does
said
it mean?
that he was named after that, but then they changed the spelling for the title because it was funny.
Funny. It is better marketable, quite frankly.
They said
Yeah.
it's funny. It's kind of goofy. So
And they had to do the whole gag thing with the juice and the blah blah blah. That was amazing. And I really loved that little like claymation or whatever thing of the beetle when it's like, hey, to her, like the actual beetle.
Right?
That's like a highlight of the whole movie to me. That cunty beetle. I
Big
love
beetle.
him. Oh my god, it's so good.
It's just crazy how little of this movie he's in, though. He's here for like 15 minutes total of screen time, and other than his cowboy commercial, he doesn't even really come in until like the halfway point.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I don't know. I think I love that commercial too. I
love it, and you can tell he's like in the model in it. Like it's got the little cows, like you can see the grass. Like if you know what you're looking at, you can see that it's the model, which is fun.
Yeah, no. So
I
fun.
love their whole little miniature town.
He's a man with hobbies, taking out the prime of his life with his beautiful wife.
And they only both died because he needed his little buddy to go with him to the store. He didn't want to go alone. He said, I want to be with my wife at all times on our staycation.
Also, they go down to the hardware store and you see the little like dog cross the road, and then like they swerved across the road, but apparently their Volvo has like a bumper sticker that says I brake for animals.
Oh.
Yeah, that dog got him all right. That dog got him. But I also love the gag when they go into the hardware store and the barber is sitting out front and he is talking, and then he's like, doesn't matter if Adam is responding, doesn't matter that Adam went into the store, doesn't matter that Adam is walking away now, like he's just going the whole time.
I love they have a beautiful small town where everyone knows each other, and these fucking yuppie New Yorkers come in and they're gonna buy the whole town. Come on.
No sense. No sense.
They have no respect. It's so stupid too, because it's so annoying, because Charles is such a dick, because he like comes in because his nerves are broken and he's had a mental breakdown or whatever, and like, okay,
relax.
But then like he's there for 5 seconds and he's like, wow, I feel relaxed. This has made me so relaxed. I'm gonna buy it. And so it's
I'm ready to do business
and
again
I'm gonna
now.
Change the whole thing, and I'm gonna
His
ruin.
knee bouncing the whole time. I'm ready to do business again now because I'm feeling so relaxed.
So relaxed. I need it. So relaxed. Oh, another point that I really like, when he's having his peaceful tea moment and her statue crashes through the window and then subsequently pins her to the wall. Hilarious.
Loved it.
It's so
Comes
good.
back around. Loved it.
I really like that her statues come alive. They really were meant for that. They're just so easily become sentient
her little
beings.
statue with the cunty little spindly legs and the balls at the end that stands up that way. I thought she did great art. Her agent says he's been losing art on her for a long time, but I feel like that's because people just don't have the vision.
They don't understand.
Is so iconic. Her dinner party outfit with the fucking little tendrils of hair on her face, so iconic. I love the red. I love that she's wearing one leather glove that goes all the way up past her elbow, just the one, for a little something, a little bit of pizzazz. And I love her little fashion top hat. I also have a fashion top hat. I only wear it for costumes, but I have one and I feel a kinship to her.
She tells Charles, I'm looking at the quote right now, actually, in my notes. Charles, I will not stop living and breathing art just because you need to relax. I'm here with you. I will live with you in this hellhole, but I must express myself. If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me, is what she says. But she has to express herself. And sometimes it's through wearing a pair of gloves as a hair wrap. And sometimes it's through wearing your husband's Christmas sweater as a pair of pants with suspenders to hold it up.
I never noticed that before this morning when I watched it, and I was like, what an interesting thing. Love that for her. She's
an innovator.
For the toilet.
Just pee through the hole.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would not be shocked if Delia was the kind of woman who asserts dominance by peeing standing up.
I could see that.
Wow.
She's
got a shiwi for sure.
Yeah. I don't think she needs it. I think she's trained herself.
Wow. No drips. Very impressive. A detail that I thought was really fun is that they originally wanted more of like a lounge singer vibe for Beetlejuice's character, Beetlegeist's character. Fuck.
Careful! That's the second time! Just kidding. You guys are different people, so it seems like you each are only at one.
We both want you in our
paying
rooms
attention to
later.
The rules. Well, fight over me, bitch.
Adam's out of town. Right.
Careful. Yeah, but I was paying attention to the rules after we were talking about this a little bit when we announced this episode last week. Because in the musical, they've got a whole song about how you have to spoken unbroken. So it has to be like one person who says Beetlejuice, 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 but pronounced correctly. You can't be like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Hey, did you go to the store earlier? I wanted you to pick up Cheerios, Beetlejuice. Like, that doesn't work. But in this movie, that does seem to work, as long as it's, like, in a relatively similar time frame. Kind of the same scene, at least. That'll do.
Yeah. I have to say, we were just attacking Lin-Manuel Miranda on a recent episode. No, I'm kidding. Me and that guy, we talked it out. But
they worked it out on the remix. Don't worry.
We worked it out on the remix. Okay, no real hate towards Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's just a little cringe for us. But Bring It On, becoming a musical, didn't sparkle any joy for me. If any movie should be adapted into a musical, I feel like Beetlejuice is the fucking movie. Like, I feel like Beetlejuice is the fucking movie. I'm following the rules from the
You're
musical.
on number 2. Watch out. Yeah, I think it is they do a great job of that for sure. I've heard a lot of the songs like on TikTok and stuff, and it definitely seems like a lot of fun. And
fun.
It's so well, the Beetlejuice song where they're doing the rules and the names is really fun, and they are playing with it a lot, where she's doing like Beetlejuice, because
Oh,
like,
that's
a lot of
so
like
fun.
anticipation and stuff like that.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, I found out that was a thing, and I was like, why have I not seen that thing? Where have I been? Under a rock. Not experiencing spending my free time at the theater as I should be. I've been in the movie theater.
To New York to see a movie on a Broadway adaptation.
We should have. It went on tour. It went on tour.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. We should have seen the theater.
Oh, are we still gonna go see Clue?
We should.
We should go see Clue. There's a Clue is it a musical?
Musical, I think.
There's a Clue musical. And it's in LA right now. So I think we're going to go. If you, a listener, live in LA, you should go see it. It looks like it's going to be fun.
I love Clue.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was talking about the lounge singer vibe for Beetlejuice. That's what they wanted. More like they wanted Sammy Davis Jr. literally to be in this movie. And I could totally see a read for that. I could see him being like a smooth operator or whatever. But I love what Michael Keaton did. I mean, I love that he's disgusting and rancid. I think that we've gotten so many sly devils, you know what I mean? Sly, sexy devils. So it's fun to have someone repulsive instead.
Yeah. I just think he's a blast also. And apparently everybody working on the movie also thought he was a blast because, like I said, a lot of this character came from Michael Keaton. But director Tim Burton, this is all per IMDb, director Tim Burton told him that he should imagine Beetlejuice as, quote, having lived in every time period but no time period. So it's like they can kind of pull from all of these different eras and different weird things. And he just came up with all these different bits. And then when he finally showed up on set to start filming, which was like a while into filming, he came to it late. Like they'd already filmed the big scene where he turns into a snake when he's the big snake in the house. And then they had to like update it a little bit afterwards to make it look more like him so that you could tell that it's like a Beetlejuice snake and not just a snake. But it said on IMDb trivia that when he first showed up to set as Beetlejuice, the crew was chanting juice, juice, juice. And so he just got like hyped and they were hyped. And then like in the scene with the model tree when he kicks it and it falls over, it wasn't supposed to fall over, but he ad-libbed when he grabbed his crotch and he was like, nice prop or whatever, nice model. And then they kept it in because Tim Burton was like, yeah!
Oh no way. That's so funny.
He's just like he's leaving it all on the field, you know?
Yeah, he left it all on the dance floor. And I love that for him. Yeah, and apparently he had like a slew of like flops just before this. So great for you, Michael Keaton, to come in and revamp your whole career. And then you got Batman after this because of this. Who thought Beetlejuice would bring you to Batman? Whoa. Oh, man. One day on a different podcast, I would love to talk about the Tim Burton Batman movies because those are a joy. Just an absolute joy to behold.
The Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin, though, also great.
Oh, is that the one with Mr. Freeze?
I think that's the one you're thinking of, yeah.
Yeah.
I love those ones. They have rock hard, perky nips.
So important to have rock hard nips.
It's the Jen Aniston 90s perky nips, okay?
It's so important.
How are we going to know that Mr. Freeze is in this movie if everybody doesn't have rock hard nips?
Exactly.
It's important. And the Tim Burton ones have fucking sexy ass Catwoman. Come on. Come on. So good. Oh my God. It's the one with fucking the Riddler too. Oh, I love the Riddler. The Riddler kind of gives Beetlejuice a little bit. Just saying. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, should I talk about some of the other horror references that I am noticing or projecting? Because I also just saw one in my IMDb trivia notes. Part of the ideation for this movie was inspired by Poltergeist, except it's kind of like the reverse. Instead of trying to get rid of the ghosts that live in the house, sort of, what they're doing instead is the ghosts are trying to get rid of the people who've moved into the house. Another one that I noticed is that Lisa Frankenstein was so clearly pulling from the Lydia Beetlejuice romance, especially, but like him eating like all the bugs and being kind of disgusting and having like mold on him and stuff like that. And her being like kind of like a goth little freak bitch. Like the Lisa Frankenstein, I was like, oh, this was definitely one of the movies that they were pulling from. I'm wondering if I have more, or if I have to hunt them down over time. This one is not a horror, but I did notice that one of Delia's haircuts, she's got all these little ponytails on the back. That's the precursor for the Sanjaya.
Oh, no.
Sanjaya was referencing this movie, I can only assume.
100% Sanjaya was referencing it. Another one that's pretty obvious, but the classic Lydia Dietz line, I myself am strange and unusual. That was definitely like just rewritten for The Craft when she says, we're the weirdos, mister. Like that's just the same. That's the same energy, 100%.
Okay, another one, Night of the Living Dead. Apparently Adam and Barbara were inspired by Barbara and Johnny from the beginning of Night of the Living Dead. I haven't seen that, so I can't speak to that, but Lydia even like says Night of the Living Dead when she's like looking at them when she meets them for the first time.
Wait,
after they take
who's inspired by Night of the Living Dead?
Adam and Barbara, Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis.
Okay, I can see that.
They're inspired by Barbara and Johnny from the opening scene.
They're brother and sister, but yeah.
Oh, that's a little weird.
I feel it though with the like hometown, like they're like from the 50s. They've got like a 50s kind of vibe. So.
I've got a little ghost tattoo, and I've always meant to get no feet tattooed like right under it.
Cute. Wait.
Yes.
Hold on. Stay here.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm back. I have one of my spooky Crocs with me, and one of my gibbets is a little Polaroid of two ghosts, and it says no feet.
No feet.
Oh my God! I never realized that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
that's so
it's
good.
from this movie.
This is one of my spooky
yeah.
Crocs.
No, that's so perfect. I just didn't like really think about it when I was shoving those gibbets into.
When Monica was helping me put my gibbets on, I'm better at it now, but some pairs are harder than others.
It was tough. It was hard. It hurt my fingies real bad, I have to say.
Yeah, and because I was like, do all 15 of them, Monica. There was a lot of gibbets.
I did it, and I cried.
And I've got
and she
two
said,
new
you
ones.
can't stop. And I said, okay, Chelsea,
yeah.
I'm sorry. She's really domineering that
It's being
day.
really domineering that day. Yeah.
What else do you guys want to chat about with this movie?
I would like to talk about the worm.
Okay.
I would love to talk about the worm. The worm is a horror reference. The worm is an alien xenomorph reference. And also a Dune reference. It's a combination of Dune and Alien.
I love the iconic black and white striping of the worm, which also
you're
matches.
Kind of giving worm.
Would you still
Are
love
you
me
the
if I was
worm?
like worm?
Yeah, if I was about to be like, if you were my girlfriend, I'd still love you.
Thank you.
Same.
I'm the worm.
Oh my
And
God,
I'd love you no matter what.
Thank you.
Sydney, are you gonna do the worm for us right now?
Sydney, get on the ground and start flopping.
Sydney, get on the ground and do the worm.
Sydney, get on the ground.
Oh, she's doing the worm. You just can't see it. But
she's doing it just out of frame.
She's for sure. Oh my God. Do you hear that? That's a telltale sign of Sydney doing the worm out of frame.
Did the worm. Hazel got really excited and decided to come join. Was it done as like a prop, like a practical prop, or do you think it was kind of like a little miniature thing that they did to like move it around?
I think it was claymation.
Right? Like,
yeah,
I think
a lot of the like more intricate stuff is they like intersperse claymation stuff,
which I really like because Tim Burton said because of their small budget, they did a lot of those practical things like as sort of cheaply as possible to like lean into that aesthetic, and I think it works so well in this movie as opposed to doing like hyper realistic CGI of the modern era or whatever, because it gives those things a quality of like being from another world, another plane, another universe, that they look so like not of our world. I think that is like a really fun quality that it brings to the film. So I'll be curious to see how they handle those items in the sequel. But
yeah, I think that claymation is such like a big part. Claymation stop motion is such a big part of like Tim Burton's later work too. And so I love seeing it here in something so early on. Again, haven't seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, so maybe there's a lot of claymation in that as well.
I've seen it but a bazillion years ago.
I think it's really effective. But I just fucking love claymation. I just think it's so insane that it exists, you know, that someone would take the time. So I just all of that. I don't care that it doesn't look that realistic. It's real to me. Sometimes you just look like a little ball of clay. It's just how it is.
I, a woman who had never seen Dune or never really heard of Dune until recently, never got the clear Dune reference in this until today when I first saw it, and I just go, oh, Dune.
Literally didn't even think about it until you guys were saying on the episode it's Dune, because I was like, it's the sand plane, and then IMDb trivia was like they were on Saturn, and I was like, how do you know it's Saturn?
They say that in the movie at one point, and well, I was like, what? Yeah, just like, don't you think that Saturn on Saturn? Blah blah blah.
I don't know.
Like
I did my planet report on Jupiter, so I can't speak to that, but
I'm sure it was an accurate representation of Saturn. Tim Burton would never lie to us. So
why would he?
Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dune had come out 4 years before this. The David Lynch version that is fucking insane, apparently, and unhinged and hard to watch. I really want to see it because I got to see Kyle. Got to see Kyle, my guy. Our boy. Also, isn't it so crazy that Tremors was inspired by this movie and also Dune? Right? So insane.
Okay, just another quick Lisa Frankenstein, because I was combing through my notes. Lydia being like, I want to be dead too, is so that moment in Lisa Frankenstein, or the moment in Lisa Frankenstein is so this. But when Lisa Frankenstein is like, oh no, I didn't mean that I want to be with you. I mean, I wanted to be in the dirt with you, like dead. Like I wanted to be dead. So I thought that was fun.
I agree. Should we talk about the ending before we move on to our
Segundos?
I think we should
so
talk about Otho
timid.
being spanked on the booty by Beetlejuice and then put in a beautiful powder blue suit where that he seemed to be horrified by, but I thought he looked slaying.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
it's so
camp.
funny that his worst nightmare is being in a light blue suit. He was like, this has defeated me. Otho the Great.
Bolo tie.
I thought he looked hunty too. I
I
have
love
a light
Otho.
blue suit and I love it.
I love Otho so much.
I love him.
Everything. Also, what a fucking bad bitch to move. Like, I don't know if any of my besties would move to the sticks with me. If I left New York. But Otho was like, yeah, of course, I'm here. I'm by your side, girl.
There is a $5 million entire town. It comes with like 22 buildings and stuff like that in Maine. And I
different one.
We should all move there and start a town.
Let's start a
Chelsea's
start a town.
That has a really good ring to it. I don't know.
Okay, I was gonna say Spooky Tuesday Town, but that's fine.
We could just call it Spooky Town.
Chelsea's Spooky Town.
Think about that.
It sounds like we're all agreeing. Everybody loves that one. I think we're gonna go with that.
No,
I think we're just gonna call it Spooky Town.
One word.
Chelsea's Spooky Town.
You can call it whatever you want in your head, babe, but
Chelsea, you can come up with our town song.
Wow, what an honor. Isn't that an honor? Daphne.
Sounds like I'm being given homework right now, but
oh my God. Okay, one thing I'll say though, I do think is like very horrific actually when Otho is doing the exorcism thing. And he has no idea what he's doing. He's doing it right, but he doesn't know what it does. And it's sending them to the hell for lost souls. Yeah. And they're turning into those speaky little ghosty ghoulies. I was freaking out. I was like, I don't remember what happens in this movie. It has to be happy, but I also don't remember them being that big of a part of the movie. So I don't know.
So maybe they die. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they die the death of dead people.
Yeah. I just love how sweet the love between Lydia and Barbara is. It's just so sweet. I think obviously Adam's in the mix there too. But
they are really connected.
Motherly love, and they like hold each other's hand. Like as
she does her whole thing where she's like, we can't use Beetlejuice after all. I'm not letting him anywhere near that little girl, which as it turns out was the right call because when he gets involved, he sure tries to marry that teenager. But yeah, I think Barbara and Lydia were really sweet. And Lydia, when she goes to talk to Beetlejuice and she's like, I'm to Barbara, like she knew her instincts were good.
Exactly. And Barbara saves the fucking day riding that worm. Oh my God. That was so awesome.
That was like
she
really
punched the worm earlier.
Yes.
She tamed the worm to ride it in. Yeah.
She's so powerful. And Adam does a great job too. Even though he's a tiny small, he blows up his little car and lights his foot on fire. So good for him. And also gotta say, the officiant of their hellish wedding.
So a little cute.
He's so cute and he has such a sexy voice. He's like this like deep low. I was like, oh my God. Did you officiate my wedding?
I wanna when I have a child, I want to dress up as this and make my child be the weird alien officiant.
Oh my God. That's funny. That's very funny. I love it. Apparently though, the end of the movie. So we get the after scene. Oh well, okay. There's the sweet end scene too, where their ghost mommy daddy to Lydia.
Did you good job at school? Yeah.
I loved that.
And they returned the house for the most part to their designs, which was nice because now they're all collaborating together.
And Delia's inspired with her art now.
Delia's got her Art in America book in the background. She's being featured.
And
she got her magazine cover, whatever.
reading about how to live with the recently deceased. That was very nice, and one thing I thought was weird is that I didn't understand why Lydia wouldn't do the frog dissection. I thought that seemed in line with her views that she would want to dissect a frog, but maybe I just felt a deeper kinship with her than what was actually there, because I would have fucking dissected the frog 100%.
I could see it going either way, but I appreciate that it was like a Lydia sticks to her convictions moment. And I could see her being like, death is serious. I have two ghosts living in my home, so I'm not going to desecrate this frog's body just because it's already dead.
Fair. Fine. Fine. And I love that they like the positive reinforcement for her getting a good grade is that she gets to be possessed and fly into the air and do another calypso dance, like
with the football players.
Yes, with the football players. The football players have figured it out. They're feeling good. I'm happy for them. It's wonderful.
They've all learned how to pee. It's fine.
But apparently there was going to be like a bigger like punishment ending for Beetlejuice in the end. And they like tested it with audiences and they're like, no, we like him. Be nicer to him. And so then they did the shrunken head thing instead.
We're just going to annoy him a little. Oh, Winona and the dead football players. That's Heather's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Got one last one at the end of my notes.
Crazy. Okay, is it time for our
Segmentos?
It is. How could this movie be gayer? No.
Do you want some fun trivia? There's so much trivia for this movie. Do you want some fun trivia before we get into those items?
Sure.
Yes.
This film was the first DVD sent out by Netflix in 1998.
That is
first
fun.
DVD they ever sent out was Beetlejuice.
Wow.
This movie was almost called Scared Sheetless because
That
Tim
one I
Burton
heard.
suggested it to the studio as a joke, and then they were like, "Oh, we kind of like that," and he had to put his foot down and say, "No, that's not what we're doing."
They almost
Catherine
called
O'Hara?
it House Ghost. Also,
So creative.
terrible.
Catherine O'Hara met her husband working on this movie because he was the production designer, Bo Welch, and he was scared to talk to her because he didn't think he should be talking to the actors. But Tim Burton was like, "No, go for it." And then they started dating, and then they got married. So that's cute.
And then they fell in love.
They filmed the scary face that Beetlejuice does when he shows Adam and Barbara. That was originally in the movie, but then it didn't get used. But they had like a whole design for it and everything. Which is sad, but there's a lot of really interesting trivia for this movie that you can scroll through and check out. Oh, another one. Michael Keaton based his performance of Beetlejuice on Chop Top from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I have not seen, but
oh my God,
other people listening to this episode probably have.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, are we down to talk gay shit real quick?
I'm always down to clown. Let's go.
Wait,
how could this movie only if it's gay? No, go.
It's about mimes.
No, mimes are gay.
That's kind of gay.
Pretty gay. Go.
Charles makes a joke about how Delia commissioned a talking Marcel Marceau statue, and he was a famous mime, so it's a talking mime statue, which is kind of funny. Okay, now I'm ready to move on. Sorry.
Okay, how could this movie be gayer?
One way it's already gay. The screenwriters were gay lovers.
Wow.
And one of them has passed. The main writer has passed away, but his partner is a producer on the sequel. But Michael McDowell, he was gay.
That's cool.
Beetlejuice is a chaos bisexual for sure.
I feel that for sure, and I also feel some queer vibes from Lydia 100%. 100%.
Oh yeah. Although I feel like is canonically, as discussed, he's getting homophobic jokes made at his expense, and he's getting spanked by Beetlejuice within the movie. So that I think is
That's a gay man.
in the
That's
text.
gay man.
Yeah.
That's textual, yeah.
But I think
100%.
Beetlejuice was flirting when he spanked him. I think that was a flirt.
Because he's chaos bisexual, yeah. It's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
making
he's
sense.
out here, he is big perv, you know, like he's perving
Yeah.
on Barbara, he's perving on Lydia. He probably has a moment with Delia that I didn't clock. But Otho's
I
part of
think
that as well.
that oh, you go.
I don't know her name, but the woman with the black hair and the ponytail who makes the like
Paranormal joke, yeah.
that's a lesbian because nobody is being bitchier to each other than a gay man and a lesbian woman.
Yes.
Nobody.
100%.
They're eating each other up.
Yeah, that's a lesbian.
And that's why she can make homophobic joke, because they're in community.
Exactly.
100%. I think that unfortunately, Adam and Barbara were straight as the day was long in life, but in death, they've got 125 years in that house, and who knows who's going to come through the door. And I think they'll be very open.
Oh,
Yeah, I think Adam for sure has the vibes of a man who has yet to discover that he's bisexual.
Yeah, 100%. But it's there. It's always there.
You see his little outfit? Hello.
Yes.
Look at him.
Those
Cheeked up in those
glasses?
chinos.
Those little glasses, gay.
Mm-hmm.
Little gay boy
100%.
glasses.
Any other gay thoughts you'd like to share?
So many more gay thoughts.
Okay, where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film?
I believe that Matthew Lillard could do an incredible performance of Beetlejuice on Broadway or something. You know, he could like really have his own version on the stage.
Yeah.
That said, in the movie, it's Michael Keaton's role. You can't take it from Michael Keaton.
No, 100%.
I
I
would
think
love
also-
him to be one of the ghosties.
Oh, yeah. He would be amazing as a one-off, like, dead guy who's got
one of the
something
civil
fucking
servants
hilarious
working
going
in the
for him.
afterlife.
He could be
Mhm.
the squish guy for sure.
Oh,
He's
that
got to
would be
have a
so
cunty
fun.
line or two. The
There's a
spooky janitor
moment-
who's like, those are the guys who are deader than dead. That guy.
There's a moment in Juno's office where you can see like a window in the back and like people sitting there. And I did not understand what I was looking at when I was watching the movie. But
Yeah, what was that?
IMDb trivia had the answer. It said that as we are the audience in theory sitting in the theater watching the movie, that's the dead audience in the afterlife also watching the movie from the other side. So we get like a glimpse of that when we're like in the afterlife world. That's the dead movie audience. So he could be part of the dead movie audience for sure.
That is so fucking random. Wow.
Isn't that
I was
interesting?
like, what the fuck is that? I was like, what are they doing?
We just
They're
get
sitting
a
there
peek
eating,
of random. Yeah.
Peered like through the window. I was like, what is that? That's so funny. I love that detail.
Dead theater audience.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good place for him. Obviously, he'd be great in place of Alec Baldwin, depending on the age, you know? Or instead of Geena Davis and they're gay. There you go. Bing, bang, boom. Gay and Matthew Lillard.
Real. I could see him doing a version of Charles if we give Charles some more interesting things to do. Right now, Charles is mostly there to be annoying and boring. But I think we could spice him up a little, and I think Matthew Lillard could do some interesting stuff with it. That said, he could also be like, what's that business guy's name? Maxie something. Yeah. He could be bringing in an interesting little side character too. He could be the barber. Yeah. The barber chatting away.
Yeah.
I think he could play a sassy little gay ortho too.
Otho? Yeah.
He could do it. I love Otho. He's got such range, but yeah, Otho. So my heart, I love him so much. He's so multi-talented. He was briefly a hairdresser. That's why he knows about like chemistry or some shit. What was he saying? Crazy. Okay. Is it time for dumb bitch?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the dumb bitch for me is Charles, because
he's not giving anything.
He's the reason that he's not a dumb bitch for having a nervous breakdown. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But he is a dumb bitch for uprooting his whole family in such a distressing way that they're obviously so upset about. Like, I feel like we could have found a middle option. And then also, once he gets there, he's like, oh, this has brought me the peace and tranquility I'm looking for. Let me destroy it. I think that is more sinister than Delia wanting her home to reflect her inner world. I too would want that. I just don't like her taste very much.
I don't know. I think
interior
she
design
was the dumb bitch for ruining the house, but she became the smart bitch for putting the house back at the end.
And also, it would have to be hand in hand with Otho, because he's the brains behind that operation, let me tell you.
Otho is kind of a dumb bitch, though, because he's like, let me do a little exorcism that I really don't know much about. And then when weird shit starts happening, I'm going to go, oop, I didn't know it's happening.
Little oopsie.
Little oopsie.
Come on, Otho, you can't do that. You gotta know what you're doing when you're dabbling in the paranormal. As a paranormal yourself, you should know.
Also, unfortunately, Adam and Babs for calling upon Beetlejuice.
Now I'm over there!
Right where I want you.
I'm gonna see both of you tonight.
We should have had a picture of you set earlier, and then we switch our background to that picture, and then you're there. That would have been really funny. Imagine that's happening.
Maybe we can, we'll film that when we're done, and then you can splice that clip in.
Okay.
You're so happy with all these ideas. I think you're so thrilled about this. I think
I'm gonna do it. Like, I just got so fucking sleepy for some reason, so I'm like, these aren't even fake eye bags anymore. It's real. I'm like, please don't tell me about SFX work I have to do.
Don't talk to me about editing now.
Don't talk to me about editing. I'll cry. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of options here. For me, it's Charles. For me, he's the dumbest of the dumb, because Delia has redeeming qualities. Lydia's perfect.
Delia to me also perfect, but that's me. I think Charles, he's giving plot setup, and that's it. He's not giving personality. He's not giving style. He's not giving good father. He's not giving good husband. He says to her, look at this kitchen. Now you can finally cook a good meal. And she goes, so, like, I just think he's a dumb bitch.
He's a dumb bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And his sweater looks better as her pair of pants. So take that.
Tell him. That brings us to our knives out of 5s. Chelsea, do you care to set the scene?
On IMDb trivia, this movie has a 7.5 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 86% fresh from critics and 82% fresh from audiences. Pretty good. And it won an Oscar. It won an Oscar for Best Makeup,
cool.
Which, much deserved. But it was also nominated for Best Makeup at the BAFTAs and nominated for Best Special Effects. And it was nominated for Favorite Movie at the Kids' Choice Awards. So,
would you look at that?
The kids loved it. It was the family movie, I tell ya.
That's amazing. Gosh. Who wants to go first on this classic?
Go.
I nominate Sydney. Yeah.
I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. And honestly, for whatever reason, I thought it was like a lot longer. It felt like
it's a tight 90.
It's a tight 90, and it like felt like that too, right? Like the plot, it was like very condensed and like moved quickly. Which
I was watching it yesterday, and I paused it at one point because my dad came in to watch TV, and I was like, I guess I can go somewhere else. But then I looked at it, and I was like, oh, there's only 12 minutes left.
Right?
Actually, you can just wait 12 minutes because this movie is short. I'm zooming through it.
Yeah, and I love now as an adult getting all the fun gags that I didn't get. This movie is beautiful. and whack. And I wish that I could be like, I want to walk around the set of the tiny town.
Yeah.
The opening credit sequence when they're like flying over the town and then they transition into the little model village with the little house. It's so cute. It's so good. I freaking love a model village.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, Sydney. A 4.5. The only reason it's not a 5 for me is because like some of it doesn't age super great. And now I know about that football thing that also feels pretty bad. But that said, like watching it again, I'm like, sometimes you watch some movie that is like an iconic IP that, you know, has been around for 36 years or longer. And you're like, okay, like I get why it was iconic, but it's just like, it doesn't hit the same way in our modern era. Not the case here. That this movie like deserves all the hype that it's gotten. It deserves a fucking huge budget sequel. Like I'm really excited. It's just so fun and it's so weird in the best way. Like so freaky weird in the best possible way. I was like, God, I love whack shit and they used to make whack shit so good. And I don't know. This is such a great proof of concept for Tim Burton as a person. So like makes sense that his career skyrocketed after this. So glad we did this. And it totally is a summer movie. Lydia is on summer break. So it makes sense that we did it right now. 100%.
They're kicking it on the porch between the real wall and that fake little facade wall. So they're slaying in their short sleeve outfits.
100%.
Otho out there as well. Yeah, I mean, I think I might do the same thing. I might also go 4.5 because I never was like a big Beetlejuice fan growing up. I like didn't have the same affinity for it that a lot of people did. I was just kind of like, okay. And so I didn't have like a nostalgia factor for it either. But putting it on again yesterday, I was like, it is fun. It is entertaining. It is like quick moving. And there's a lot of really fun, interesting, small details to appreciate when you're like paying attention to. Like, I love the moment when she lights her fingers on fire and then blows them out. Like, there's so many just cute little things that are a blast. And it's actually, we've been saying this about a lot of movies, but this movie with all of the green lighting, Insidious, that's another one when they're in the attic. And the secret door opens and then the green light shines through. Because what I was going to say is that all of the green lighting in this movie is very Brat Summer. This movie is giving the most Brat Summer, actually. They're splitting the apple down symmetrical lines. So, yeah, I mean, rewatching it, I already was excited for the sequel because it just looks like they're going to do some really interesting stuff with it. And I'm really curious to see what that is. But I was very glad that I revisited the original in time so that I have the full appreciation and can engage with the lore and can really get into the meat and potatoes to see what's going on in that film when it comes out.
Hell yeah. That's great. Yeah, had fun. But next week, though.
Next week's a big week.
It's a big week.
Next week is a very special week. We've been doing this podcast for kind of a long time now. I don't know if you guys know that. But you know, we have a real milestone coming up next week. It is our 200th episode. 200, 200. And we wanted to do something special. We weren't sure what. And then we had the idea that we could let our listeners and our patrons help us decide. So we asked all of you spookies for suggestions about what we should cover, and we put it to a vote. And the patrons decided that we should do Scary Movie, which is like a really fun reference, blah, 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 obviously. But we had our own idea that can we really cover Scary Movie without also talking about the movie Scream? They're married to each other. They're kissing on the mouth. They're kissing with tongue, you know? So we decided you can't separate them. We decided for our 200th episode, that's 100 times 2, we would do a little double feature. So next week we're doing Scary Movie, but we're also revisiting Scream for our first unofficial Spooky Take Tuesday. And I'm very excited that my agenda is finally being implemented.
Spooky Take 200 Tuesday?
Spooky Take 200?
Wow, it just flows off the tongue.
Tuesday,
Also,
baby.
want to give a shout out to our patron Anna. She also had requested that we do Scream again. So that suggestion plus the suggestion of Scary Movie that won the poll. Beautiful idea. Magic was made. Whoa, it's gonna be
Okay,
crazy.
but also too, Scary Movie, not only does it do Scream, but it also riffs I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh.
And I'm very curious to see all of the
I
other movies that it
forgot.
riffs. I'm sure there's more in there.
Wow, we're gonna be so primed to cover Scary Movie right now. Holy shit. It's gonna be insane.
I'm very excited with my much more broad horror knowledge now to see what was really going on in Scary Movie, because
Yeah,
I learned when we did Scream 2 that moment in Scary Movie was such a on the nose clear reference to Scream 2, and I hadn't known that when I'd seen that part in whatever Scary Movie that one is. Maybe it's the first, I don't know, because at least 2 Screams had come out by the time Scary Movie came out in the year 2000. So I'm very eager to really see what was going on in that movie now that I'm an adult and now that I've got a much wider base of knowledge.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that we're doing that movie and also revisiting our very first episode that we ever did with Scream. It's crazy that we've been doing this for nearly 4 years now. So we're excited to celebrate this milestone with our spooky babies. That's you, if you didn't know. So I'm excited. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun. And it's gonna be probably an extra long episode. Maybe as long as
We'll see.
our Saltburn episode. I hope not. But only time shall tell, babe. So check it out next week. Okay, poll question before we move on to our little details. I mean, it could be super simple. Like, are you excited for Beetlejuice? Beetlegeist. How about that? I almost said it.
You saved it for a second there. Yeah.
I saved myself.
Because you already said it one time after your allotted 3, so then I'd be banished.
Oh my
I
god.
have to turn my video back off.
Oh shit. Well.
So watch out.
Okay, I won't do that because that'll look weird on the video, so I won't do that. I'm not doing any more special effects. But yeah, I feel like that could be a good one too. Like, are you excited for it? Are you looking for, do you think they'll do a good job with what?
How do you think they're gonna handle the Barbara and Adam situation in the sequel?
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting one.
That could be an interesting
your best
one.
guess.
Yeah, I think that would be a really interesting one. Okay, cool. I'm really excited for the sequel, so we'll cover that eventually. Okay, and also, why not give us a little preemptive 5-star review and say, oh my god, 199 episodes is also an incredible accomplishment. 5 stars. Even if you stopped it right there, we'd be proud of you. But don't worry, babes. We're coming back next week and it's going to be slay. Or you could also give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We'll take that as well. And we'll know you're saying what I just said, whatever that might have been. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we're at Spooky Tuesday Pod. Speaking of Spooky Tuesday Pod, put a little .com after that. And that's our website. And it's beautiful. And also YouTube. You should look us up on YouTube. We've got a slew of new subscribers on there, which is really exciting. So if you're watching this, thank you. And also, we look really crazier today. Sydney is a worm, a literally very accurate worm. It's crazy.
Biblically
I'm Lydia
accurate worm.
I'm Lydia. Got the camera, and we've got Beetlejuice himself in the house right now. It's very unsettling.
I'm a star. I'm the star.
Yeah, she's the star. So you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this. I'll tell you that. But anyway, I have to say thank you so much for listening to us. Maybe even 199 times. I won't assume you've listened to every episode,
Maybe.
but you could have.
Maybe one person has.
Maybe one person has.
One really committed bitch out there.
Yeah, it's been me because I have to edit all these episodes.
That's true. Thank you to Sydney. Because that was what I was trying to say. But also I do know actually that we do have some people who've listened to all of them because they've been like, I listened to every single episode. Now I'm all the way caught up. And I was like, that was a couple months ago. So maybe they've fallen off. But
maybe they've skipped a few since then.
Yeah.
Maybe
they also haven't seen Goodnight Mommy. I'm upset about it still. But anyway, thank you so much for listening for so long. And we can't wait to celebrate with you next week. So we will see you next Tuesday for our 200th Tuesday.
Yay!
Bye, spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.